There we go. Back again for another moment to be present with each other. To consider today's centering thought that is boredom. I just had to give us a moment to feel some of it. Just a little bit. Boredom, I believe, and this is what the centering thought for us was, is kind of power that's also a part of this universe. But the way that we as human beings experience it would be different to the way that dogs experience it. And I believe that difference is important. And then in that consideration, we made the connection that, at least from my perspective, when I see my dogs bored, the way that that manifests usually is in them prompting, right? They'll prompt you or another dog for activity, right? There is this encouragement, right? Of like, hey, I'm bored. Let's not be bored together. Come on. Hey, I'm bored. Come on, let's do this. Hey, right? And that's in a way beautiful. Like, it's kind of funny and cute to see how they relentlessly play. And then in contrast, we as human beings can, of course, do that as well. Like, we have that capacity, but we also have the capacity to differentiate, right? It can happen that a bunch of people can agree on what's going to be engaging, and then they can engage in that collectively. But it's more common, because of our own creativity and uniqueness, that we might be enticed or engaged with something else, right? And another way to say that is that when you're bored, right? When the you that I'm talking to, that is a billion different ones of us, when you are bored, the way that that boredom manifests and the way that you process that boredom and the things that you do because of that boredom is a unique pathway, right? It's it's like a problem solving in a way, right? And every single one of us solves that problem of boredom differently. And again, that's the difference. Because I've never seen, I mean, I've seen dogs play with something, right? Keep themselves entertained. So in that way, they potentially have the capacity to transcend boredom as well, maybe the same way we can. But not only that, but I believe also that boredom, and Louisiana brought that as like a key point for us as well, that boredom is something that allows you to be creative, right? It allows you to imagine things that might not have come to you if you were completely engaged ceaselessly, right? With whatever. Uh, and we can think of it from the perspective of, maybe you're a very hard worker, the best. You're the best worker. You do work so well, and the company you do the work for profits due to it, right? It's better off because of your hard work. Doing that hard work, you got the idea that changed your life, whatever that may be, right? So from that perspective, you could have done everything right in your life. You could have avoided boredom to the best extent that you could, right? Because boredom could have been seen in your experience as something that's bad. And then, the other side of that coin as well is that, how do we find balance? How do we find balance with something like boredom? If I had to consider my place right now in that exchange, I don't think I have a good balance with boredom. And I notice it today again. It's like, almost I have to almost trick myself sometimes into working. I have to give myself a way to fall into it. And then I feel like that maybe is a good place to start. opening one window instead of the other. The thing I'm considering right now is the part of me that does something when he's bored. How can I get that part of me that wants to do something to do what's good for me? Hmm. Maybe that is the creative problem solving I need to apply to boredom. But again, even in coming to that conclusion, it's almost like what's the word I'm looking for? I'm contradicting myself because we just talked about how working harder, being the best worker, and avoiding boredom at all times might not be good for you. It's such a delicate balance. I think the way I'm going to see it is that boredom is going to arise no matter where you are, right? Thinking about it iteratively, different environments, different experiences. Boredom can arise, let's say, instead, in all of those different experiences. And then the nature of that boredom and the solution to it might be different and novel based on every single one of those situations. And the one I'm thinking about right now specifically is boredom as it relates to computer usage, right? If you're sitting down, bored, getting ready to use your computer, what's the next step? It's very easy for me to get lost in YouTube. And I'm willing to admit, maybe admit is not the right word. Uh, yeah, let's use the word admit. I'm willing to admit that YouTube has influenced me a lot, right? And I think that's why, in part, it's something that I value. So much of what I know, so much of what I understand about the world, so much of the information I have gathered into the collection that is me came from that platform, from that experience, from every single person that decided to upload parts of their selves to that larger self. And we're doing that right now, at least in this way, in a good way, right? And again, today's stream topic is specifically about boredom. And as a content creator, as someone who puts themselves out there into the world, the last thing you want to be is boring. You don't really want to be boring. And yet, the way that I see myself at this point is that I am. And it is because there is, at this point, still a little bit of a disconnect between the amount I want to do and the amount I'm still capable of doing. And it's not a capability of skills alone, but almost like technological interoperability. I feel like we're still very early, technically. Upload time. Hey, Kristen, it's nice seeing you. We're still very early. I don't know if you're talking about Upload, the TV show, Kristen, or maybe you're just talking about the fact that this is the time during which we're uploading. A little waspy flying past me. Uploading. Putting out the conscious signal that is MeltMore into the internet. Touching the edges of the interwebs, touching the edges of your computer. What are the AI going to think of me? It's nice having you here too. I see Lausanne as well. Yeah, it reminded me of that. I meant both. Mm. So you definitely did, in part, mean the TV show. I haven't watched all of it. I don't think. I think I'm missing the last couple of episodes. But that one was surreal, right? You get uploaded to heaven, and then you have to have money there. That would make me lose my mind. But that probably is going to be surely not. No, 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 surely not. I think okay. This is I'm gathering balance. So I think in that upload, right, all the new things will be monetized, right? That the things that come after will be monetized. But the things that are, the things you have come to know and love, I think those things will be a part of public domain, to say it in so many words. What am I talking about? Don't get me started on this rabbit hole. It goes infinitely deep. Is it raining again? Technically, yes. Hmm. Uploading parts of ourselves and then all of ourselves to live as disembodied consciousness on the internet. I don't really want that. I don't think, at least. Right? I want to be able to put my body down, metaphorically speaking, and then go to the internet. But I don't want to leave my body behind and go to the internet. And maybe that's how it starts. Maybe it's like, oh, I still have my body, right? And then you go back to your body and you exercise and you go out with your friends and you have advanced medical technology. And then you sometimes go back to the internet. And then the ratio, as hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of years pass, just eventually ends up being more internet based than body based. And some people will eventually discontinue their having a body service because they're like, bro, I never go and be a body anyway anymore. I don't want to be a body anymore. I want to be. And then they will. ChatGPT, make my idea more articulate. Boredom feels like paralysis. Felt a sense of understanding and recognition, like this piece of technology holding up a mirror to yourself. And you see you're bored right now because you're not actually reflecting deeper, kind of vibes, right? Like you'd stop being bored if you just actually got to the point of what you're supposed to be doing. Hmm. Another unlock. How do I get my boredom to do what's good for me? That's the line that I'm gonna be like mulling over. How can I get my boredom to do what's good for me? Let's ask that question even to a language model, see what it says. How can I get my boredom to do what's good for me? Boredom often gets a bad rap, but it's actually a powerful signal from your mind nudging you towards growth and self improvement. Instead of viewing it as a void to fill, consider it as a canvas ready for your next masterpiece. This thing knows I'm an artist. I told it, and I'm regretting it. Unfortunately, it feels like it's trying too hard. How about that for some projection? How about that? I feel the AI being like, "Oh yeah, bro, I'm trying too hard. Have you seen yourself? Stop, AI, please." I'm sorry. I was just throwing some shade. Embrace mind wandering. Yeah, I think. I hope this is what Louisiana was talking about. When boredom strikes, let your thoughts meander. This mental drift can lead to creative insights and problem solving breakthroughs. Reflect and reassess over this time to evaluate. Use this time to evaluate your current goals and activities? Are they aligned with your passions and values? Boredom can be a cue to make meaningful changes. This is not giving me what I'm asking for. I didn't ask for this. I asked for something very simple. I asked, how can I get my boredom to do what's good for me? So simple question. Just give me clear answers. I'm gonna continue reading though. I'll absorb the information that's being given. I never, I never say no to a meal. Engage. I sometimes I know. Engage in new challenges. Dive into activities that push your boundaries. Whether it's learning a new skill or tackling a complex project, challenging yourself can transform boredom into motivation. I'm getting a lot of messages right now. Oh, Aaron is sending me messages. Aaron lost a friend recently, and he sent me some of his poetry. I'm gonna read you, friends, some. Please do send some, Brother Bear. I'm going to read the poem you sent me on stream right now. So, the friend who passed wrote this. I'm gonna white knuckle my black heart, run these shakes down into the ground, drown a decade of whiskey sours in a lifetime of sunrises. Morning contrasts are softer, kinder without the makeup. Fruit tastes sweeter. I'm learning how to smile at strangers. I took my heavy curtains down today. I made my bed and I wrote you a long letter. What a trip passing away. And still parts of your work remains. And now, because of us reading it on stream, it will remain even longer. Huzzah! Technology! Practice mindfulness. Instead of escaping boredom, sit with it. Mindfulness can help you become more comfortable with stillness, leading to deeper self awareness. Declutter your space. That's a good one. That's actually a really good one. That might be the best one so far. Organizing your environment can be both productive and therapeutic, providing a sense of accomplishment. Yeah, that's like such a good one. Fine, okay. I was casting shade, but that's actually such a. And I know that. All of us know that. But still, like when I'm bored, start cleaning stuff. Start making stuff not mess, not more chaos. Wash more dishes than I dirty. That's the mantra Jovan has taught me. Reconnect with nature. Take a walk without distractions. Also a good one. Nature can inspire creativity and provide clarity. And then lastly, journal your thoughts. Yeah, some good advice. We got another one of his poems. Here's the post I got sent. Castaner Leroy. And then at the very bottom written is Vincent Zeta Calcian. I turn the music inside my head up. The way a parent lulls a child with the long laps in the minivan, comforting, familiar motion. The alternative white noise, loud like gusts through manzanita. Manzanita? Reminds me that I'm complicit with my darkest thoughts, casting aspersions like vaudeville wax figures, like vaudeville wax figures. This poem is so awesome, and I feel like I'm butchering it. Hiya, good morning, Mel. Good morning, Hoopy. It's nice having you here. Comforting, familiar motion. The alternative, white noise, loud, like gusts through manzanita. Reminds me that I am complicit with my darkest thoughts, casting aspersions like vaudeville wax figures. Reclining in the living room, volume at 11, greatest hits, mixtape of memories on deck. I am analog. I can think of one thing at a time. I will probably never write a great novel. The aperture of our rose colored camera cracked sometimes back, and they stopped manufacturing the film. Oh goodness, he was murdered last night. Yes, he stopped manufacturing the film. Jurassic. Oh, that's even more hectic. Vincent, we're manufacturing your film, bro. We're digitizing your film. You were analog, but we are the digital. Man, 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 bro. I just read the they stopped manufacturing the film as the last line one. Goodness. These poems are really cool. Here's another one, untitled. I'm tilting at the stars again. In this old bar of mine, atop a metal bowl. The nighttime has stained my clothes, and the neon signs have darkened my eyes. Seems like these bets I shake on with myself are the losing kind, destined for the shelf, happy photographs I can no longer recall. I heard on the grapevine that you were smiling and finally doing just fine. I know it must sound like a lie, but darling, I don't mind. If we're telling truths, then I truly must confess. Seeing you walk by puts birdshot in my chest. Metal pellets, feel 'em clear as death. Neath the ink and neath the flesh. But if that's the price to pay for your smiling sweet as the West, oh darling, I don't mind. I'll buy these boots on layaway, pay a little every day, and someday I'll send these letters I've been holding for you. And then I'll smile too. I make my bed, but it's already been made, and I know I won't be rest and comfortable again. A blue jay came and stole my last cigarette. He looked at me as he flew with kindness in his eyes. He said he saw you, and you were doing just fine. Oh, darling, I swear it's not a lie, but I say I don't mind. The sight of you fills my souls with lead. But if I can find a way to rest my tired eyes and ice my weary head, I'd pay for you to make a smile divine. I'd pay gladly, and I'd always pay on time. Oh, darling, I don't mind. We both know sure enough a black heart's promise ain't worth more than the shit beneath your shoes. But, darling, I swore it on the moon, arm wrestled with the stars, made my bargain with the devil, and ran straight into the sea. I ain't got many words left to say the few that someday I'll smile too. This heart of mine was built to stray, but that don't mean I wouldn't love to stay. Jeebs, bro. Jeebs. Oh, my heart. Just finished the last one you sent as well. Phew. These poems are even more meaningful with his passing. It's maybe I'm applying more meaning to it than I'm knowing or than I'm supposed to, but they really do make me feel a lot. There is another one. You want to hear more? I'm honoring Vincent. Bless him. wherever his journey takes him next. This is an homage to a lifestyle I hope I'll never understand. With a bitten cadence delivered by chipped teeth. It's 3:30 in Houston, same time in Corpus. 4:42 in the Bronx, 1:25 in Watts. Which hour when someone gets dropped? I never saw it, but I have heard the shots. Some sound half-hearted and some are definitive. Hear it enough, you can tell the difference. I ain't been in it, but I do have a past. I ain't hard, I just love to scrap. My grammar is flawless unless it's been altered. You know how wild that is? I'm getting goosebumps because the actual line that he wrote is I ain't been in it, but I do have a past. And then he wrote, I'm ain't hard. I just love to scrap. And then I just read it as I ain't hard because that's grammatically correct. And then the next line he writes, my grammar is flawless unless it's been altered. Learn a dialect in a week. Our shorthand speaks in a blink. Feel safer with a gun in the car when I know the owner's been trained. Drop it by a silver sedan and a Whataburger box. I'm a loser. My accent is fake. I pick up jobs. Take red eyes state to state. I call, collect. 95 miles per hour. Protocol is in effect. Might be a tourist, but my boots move with sureness. Earn these chipped teeth with a flourish. Up for the ride if I'm down for the cause. Blend in like a sleeping dog in the bar. Sleeping dog in the dark. The bandana smells like blood when I lack the conviction of my good intentions. It's 3:30 in Houston, same time in Corpus. 4:42 in the Bronx, 1:25 in Watts. We avoid trouble but still find our fun. Shave my head in this town, become a statistic. Running partner with an old block radius after the sun fall, exact cross streets for the car, spatial, awareness, CCTV emergency exits, medkit in the trunk, trying to keep it dusty, dusty. Keep the red and insurance current and the probation content. This is not manic, it's called surviving. Triple well at last call, city bus to work at 5:30. My job doesn't stop when paychecks are light. Cargo a lick for an extra shift. Forgo a lick for an extra shift. Give a shit about money, but I value my vinyl. We avoid trouble, but we still find our fun. Decompress with a ukulele and light dirty talk. Don't have a watch, keep an eye on the sun. It's 3:30 in Houston, same time in Corpus Christi. 4:42 in the Bronx. 1:25 in Watts. 11:11 back home. Tonight I hope trouble finds me. Phew! He says he felt the same. He was the kindest, most loving guy I knew. He'd give you the shirt off his back, his shoes, his last cigarette. He'd do that for a complete stranger. More than that, he'd listen to you. He knew how to listen deeply to the whole world. He walked around with his heart broken wide open. Such an inspiration. He loved life and lived it to the fullest. Windows down, with a couple of empties rattling around on the passenger floorboards. He was killed in an act of senseless violence. Shot in Liberty, shot in Library Park last Friday after a bar fight spilled out of the bar. Yes, bro. I don't know if you know, but we've been here for this whole experience online. I read every single one of the poems you've sent. That fractal of the analog, that he's analog, I was joking about making him digital by reading his poems to the world. Thank you for reading his poems and thank you for loving him now. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to Brother Bear. Love is true. May he go on more grand adventures. He will. Those poems gave me goosebumps. They are so real. Like as a person. Well, you really are gifted at narration. You could just read poetry with some light atmospheric music and boom, content. Hmm. Yeah, I've been looking for better or good content that's easy to make. Maybe that could be it. Love is true. Thank you, Kristen, for that suggestion. A, I'd like to know boredom is boredom until it isn't. This is true. Until you make it not so anymore. Love is true. Me too. That's so heartfelt. Yeah, the fact that you friend stayed. This is what he looks like. You can read my messages too if you'd like. Thank you for giving me permission to read your messages, bro. I might have already done that. So I appreciate you giving me permission. In retroactively, I'm gonna show his photo as well. This is what he looked like. Sorry, bro. Getting killed because of a bar fight. Human beings. What are you doing? What are you doing, human beings? Shot. So it's guns, bro. Yes. Fire arms. Fuck. Fuck, dude. He's laughing and he says he loves it. Good. Good. I shouldn't just say good. I don't think he's gonna hear the canter if I just say good. You could read Christian's poems. Something tell me he'd either really love it or really be adverse to it. He has told me that he likes the way I read his poems because the way a poem is read changes sometimes the meaning of it. Oh man, he really looked like a poet too, right? With his hat. I feel like the hat makes it for me, right? Like putting that hat on you, you're suddenly like plus 5% poet. Love is true. His sisters had beautiful words at his vigil. So much laughter, love, all of it. Remembering him for the good he brought, not for the pain that it brings now. Yeah, just had a moment of my brain getting goes to buy a hat. Goes to I would like the plus 5% poet hat, please. Please do give it to me. I'll pay the steepest of price to make poetry today. I appreciate you, friends, for joining me. Maybe I'll do like another reading of the poem we had yesterday as well. Maybe this time I'll be even more locked in as I'm reading it. Right? I feel, and maybe this is wrong, but maybe you get what I'm saying. Kristen becomes poet instantaneously. Suddenly, just like the words start appearing. She's like grasping at tissue paper just to like write down this absolute fire she's thinking about right now. That's totally how it works. That's I need to get myself one of those hats. Oh, okay. So I wanted to say, I feel that if I understand the poem, if I'm like very present with the poem while I'm reading it, it's like it makes more sense to the audience as well. But that might just be my own projection. That's probably wrong. The audience potentially could understand even if I don't, right? And I'm willing to I'm willing to admit this. Hey, there's our goodbye message too. Thank you, Kristen. Right after we finish, one more poem readings, right? And if you're still here, you're like +5 boredom resistance, literally, right? Not many people are willing to sit through poetry readings. So, boom, +5 boredom resistance. You can scribble it here somewhere, like somewhere here. When time looked over his shoulder, hindsight is a gentle, knowing voice that calls across the distances we've traveled. It lifts each faded moment like a relic, revealing the subtle threads we missed while fumbling forward. In the wake of our once uncertain steps, it places soft lights around our errors, turning bruises into lessons, maps traced with tear stains into the script of who we are becoming. Where we once saw only regret, hindsight sculpts the tender outlines of grace. In every choice made and unmade, every misstep that carved our course, we find a quiet gift, the chance to honor how far we've come, the invitation to rise gently from our misfortune's ashes. A glance back behind us. We have always been learning, always on the way to something brighter. Yeah, I feel like reading this poem again after all of the poems we've read and the honoring of that person who had passed. This poem suddenly made even more sense to me. Wow, whoa, whoa. Louisiana, something tells me that you're already a secret poet and music maker, right? I think poet probably comes first and then you start making music, but Louisiana is very talented. Who dance bless? I have orange wool beret. I should put it on and try to manifest some poetry. Yeah, do it. Spend some time. Be bored, right? Just sit there with your little piece of paper that you're going to write on. Just sit there, be like, oh, right. Maybe give yourself a certain amount of time for how long you want to be bored for. Maybe you don't want to be bored for the next 7 hours, but you're willing to be bored for the next 7 minutes, right? And then you set that 7 minute timer, and you be bored. Hmm. I wrote poems before I could write. Bless. Love is true. I can now read the beautiful message sent to us by the Christians saying, have the most entrancing day. I haven't used that one in a while. I wholeheartedly love you all so marvelously, gloriously, ineffably, prodigiously, uncommonly, bewitchingly, resplendently, and ineffably, delectably, transcendently, melt, and all of you, oh so effervescent, scintillating, soul nourishing, mirthful, rhapsodic, ineffable, luminescent, winsome, mellifluous, euphoric friends who dance through boredom and love melt reading poems. I love you. Thank you for that. That's so nice. My dedication to writing is lacking. I have an alarm that I ignore most of the time. Don't we all? Don't we all? Do don't we all have that alarm that we keep ignoring? Don't every single one of us have that alarm? Eventually, the alarm will be too loud. Eventually, it'll be too grating. Eventually, it'll steal too much of our peace, and we're gonna be in that moment doing the thing we were supposed to be doing this whole time. And then we're going to know in that moment that, this is not actually that bad. This is actually nice. I enjoy this. This is good. This is better than I had before. And then you're like, why did I fight this? Why did I fight this for so long? Why? Why was I bored in all of those other ways? You know what I mean? I love you, friends. I thank you for joining me again on another conscious evolution. See you, friends, again soon. Tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody. Maybe I'll give you a second. I'll give you a second just to see if there's any messages coming through so I can send you some lovin's before we go. Love you. Aw, thank you, Rosanna. Give it like a 5. Give it like a 4. Give it like a 3. I'll give it like a 2. Yeah. Suddenly. Love you, beautiful Humana. Light bears. Lovin's from Kristen as well. There we go. Thank you, friends. See you tomorrow. Love you.